We are back for another well-kept Wednesday, but the gag is your girl is actually recording this on Tuesday. Let me tell you why. So, by the time you see this, which is on Wednesday, tomorrow, I would have gotten 2 additional teeth extracted from my mouth. Y'all, now let me tell you how we got here, okay? When I tell you I have been having so many issues with these teeth for literally as long as I can remember, I have been getting cavities filled for my entire childhood. And this was the thing that would drive me crazy. I've never been a candy eater. Ever. Candy has never been my thing. It wasn't until very recently, like literally this year, that I realized that it's not just the candy, the sugar in the candy that is super harmful for your teeth, but the way that carbs like bread and cookies and cakes sit in your gums, like sit on top of your gums and on your teeth, that is where a lot of cavities come from too. And me at my big age, I'm just learning this. Okay. I am not afraid to be honest with y'all, to admit the things that I just didn't know and share them with y'all so that you can be better than me. Okay. So today's Well Kept Wednesday, which, as y'all know, is all about creating a safe space for millennial women just like me who are being intentional about their wellness, a safe space for us to come have some of these conversations about what the hell is going on. Today, we are talking about your oral health and why I am about to get 2 more teeth pulled out of my mouth. Okay. Now, I'm not just going to spend this time talking about my horrible experience and why I am ending up with 4 teeth pulled, but I want to share some of the lessons that I've learned since going down this rabbit hole on oral health. Some of the things I've started to do, some of the things that you can be doing, and some of the secrets from the dental industry that most of us, common folks like me and you, just don't know. So I want to start off by telling y'all why this is, well, obviously, you know that this is so important to me because I've obviously been dealing with my own challenges, which led me down this rabbit hole and doing all of this research. In doing this research, I kept coming across this information regarding root canals, how root canal should never be done, how how much of a potential there is for reinfection with root canals. One of the things, as someone who has had 4 root canals, which explains the 4 teeth that I'm getting pulled, I was never explained, or I was never educated on the fact that just because you remove the roots does not mean that like the tooth is cool now. Because I thought, okay, well, a root canal means you're going to canal my roots. You're going to take out what's inside of my roots. You're going to clean them out, right? No more roots. The roots are gone. So I should never feel any more pain. I should never have any more problems with this tooth. That was my ignorant assumption. Only to realize that root canal teeth are almost 100% of the time infected. Once they get reinfected, you either have to retreat them, which means getting another root canal, or you have to extract them, which means pulling your tooth. Now, I opted to pull my teeth upon further research that basically led me to believe that there was no saving the teeth, that this was just going to be a vicious cycle of repairing, reinfecting, repairing, reinfecting. And it's not only annoying and painful, but it's expensive as hell too. Because y'all know these dental procedures are not cheap, which is another thing that kept coming up in my research. There is so much chatter around the internet about the fact that dentists are out here scamming. The statistics on the number of dentists that are doing unnecessary procedures, it's alarming. Because most people like you and me, we just trust what the dentist says. We trust that if you say I have a cavity that needs to be filled, okay, let's fill it. We trust that if you say that braces are the only thing that's going to fix my overbite, okay, put those braces on. I trust that when you say that this root canal is the only thing that's going to solve this problem and take this pain away, okay, let's do this root canal. Most of the time, we're not going out to get a second opinion, especially when it comes to the dentist. And that is where we are going wrong. And that is where I can't even say we're being scammed. Some of it is scam because they're taking advantage of our ignorance. But we really have to start advocating for ourselves. And we are not going to be able to do that until we start informing ourselves. So the entire point and mission and premise behind Well Kept Wednesday is for me to share with y'all this information that is quote unquote taboo, that they, whoever they are, don't really want us to know. Because when we start figuring out the truth, when we start finding out how we can start taking our health into our own hands, when we start realizing that we don't have to rely on medications and medical procedures to live healthy lives, then they're not going to be able to profit off of us, which is what all of this is about anyway. Okay. When we think about like the entertainment industry, we consider that to be an industry. But when we think about medicine, we say the medical system. We don't say the medical industry. I want us to start changing our language, because once we start changing our language and realizing that the medical system is the medical industry and they are all about driving up their income, then we'll start to shift our perspective on how we are just like blindly allowing them to operate on us, blindly allowing them to literally like deplete our funds, take our resources away based on these unnecessary procedures. Now, I'm not saying that they're all unnecessary. I'm just saying get a second opinion. Ask somebody, okay? So back to me and my messed up teeth. So tomorrow, or actually today, because you'll be watching this on Wednesday, I am getting, and I'm going to do an update to tell y'all how this actually works out. So please say some prayers, okay? Even though by now it's too late. About, I would say maybe a year and a half ago, I developed what I later found out was like an abscess in my mouth. All I know was that the roof of my mouth was hurting. That's what I was feeling. I was feeling like pain on the roof of my mouth. And this little bump, it felt like a pimple, I guess, for lack of better words, like developed on the roof of my mouth. It hurt really bad. Y'all know any kind of mouth pain is like the worst pain in the world, right? So it was hurting bad as hell. Maybe a week later, by the time I was actually able to like get an appointment to go into the dentist, the bump had gone away, right? The bump had gone away, but I could still kind of feel where it was. So I told them, this is where it was. You could still kind of feel this little indent, but the pain is gone. And they're like, okay, well, since it's gone, just monitor it. But, if the bump comes back, come back and see us. Hindsight being 2020, this was really the first red flag. Because knowing what I know now, they, as the professionals, should have definitely known what that was, what that bump was. So, surprise, surprise, this bump ends up coming back maybe a month or two later. Go back to the dentist. They're like, oh, yes, this is an abscess. Let's take some x-rays. Pause. Now, why couldn't they tell me the first time that this could potentially be an abscess, especially since they're the professionals, and I'm sure I'm not the first person that has come in here presenting these symptoms. A little bump, it's painful. Like, y'all should have known that this was probably an abscess. Y'all should have did an x-ray a month ago. So here I am a month later, right? Only for them to take the x-ray to tell me that it was an infection, that's what it was, that it was an infection. Now, again, hindsight being 2020, you as the professional who sees nothing but mouths all day long, you should have known that's what this was. You should have been on alert that this could possibly be an infection. And you should have given me whatever you're going to give me a month later to treat this infection. So they end up writing me a prescription for antibiotics to treat the infection. And they give me a referral to go to an endodontist, which is basically like a dental specialist that only does root canals. So I go see the endodontist. They tell me that the root canal teeth, 2 root canals. So I had 3 teeth on this side that have root canals. At the time, it was 2 teeth, the 2 in the back, that had caused this abscess. They had gotten infected. And because those 2 root canals got infected, my gum had got infected, which is what I was feeling. And that was the abscess. So the antibiotics treated the infection. This specialist said, well, these root canals were not done properly. The dentist did not remove all of the roots. Now, again, in my research, I have learned that this is very common. It is extremely common for dentists to improperly do your root canals. Why is that? Because apparently root canals should only be performed by specialists, which is endodontists. They should not really be performed by your general dentist. Okay. Your general dentist should refer you to an endodontist. So, way back when I initially needed those root canals, that dentist should have referred me to an endodontist instead of doing it on their own. But no, they didn't do that, because if they refer me, they're not going to collect that check. Blink, blink, blink. So, the general dentist who did the root canals originally, all 4 of my root canals, did not do them properly, did not remove all of the roots, and now that has led to reinfection. So he said that they were in such bad shape that even if he would have redone the root canals, there was only a 50% chance that he would have been able to fix it, basically. So I could pay, it was like between $1,000 and $1,500 per tooth. So I could either pay between $2,000 and $4,000, if I'm doing my math correct, $2,000 and $3,000 for you to attempt to redo my root canal and hope for the best, knowing that I have a 50-50 chance. Or I can pay you $15 per tooth and just take them out and know that it's all gone. Know that I'm not going to get a risk reinfection because the tooth is gone. This is the thing that dentists are not telling us about these root canals. And this is what I found out is the problem. When you leave that tooth in there, but you take out the roots is basically the life source. It's the blood supply from the tooth, from your body to the tooth. Once you take out the blood supply, that tooth is basically dead. You are yanking it off of life support. The blood ain't flowing no more. It is just a dead tooth in your mouth, doing you no good, actually doing you harm, because the bacteria that gets caught up in that dead tooth no longer has the life supply doing its thing to clean it out and, regenerate cells and all that stuff that your roots inside of your teeth actually do. So when you take out the root, but you leave the tooth, it usually, more times than not, leads to infection. That's what they're not telling you. So here I am at the endodontist getting these 2 teeth pulled, because I have no choice, right? So I ended up getting the teeth pulled only for the tooth that was in front of that. So the 3rd tooth to end up developing an infection. And the only reason that I left the other 2 in my mouth is because at that time, I was still ignorant, did not have all of the information that I have now. And I just went along with the dentist telling me, well, you don't want to lose your teeth. Because all that dentists really care about, aside from like the money that they make off the procedures, is the vanity of things. They care about whitening your teeth, even though the chemicals that they use to whiten your teeth are actually toxic. They care about you keeping your teeth, even if those teeth are actually dead and carrying infections that could cause so many other health issues. They care about the appearances of your mouth. They don't truly care about your overall health. What I know now, as of today, is that the health of your mouth literally directly impacts every organ in your body. Every organ. If you Google tooth map, it's going to pull up a chart that looks just like the hand map, just like the face map, just like the foot map. That is rooted in Chinese medicine, where it basically, Chinese medicine knows that everything on your body is connected. So if you look at the bottom of your feet, every point on your feet is connected to a different point in your body. So there's a point on your foot that's connected to your digestive system. There's a point on your foot that's connected to your sinuses. There's a point on your foot that's connected to your brain. Same with your hand, same with your face, same with your ear, same with your mouth. So every single tooth in your mouth is connected to a different internal organ. So if you are having issues with your teeth, you can look at this map and literally pinpoint a direct connection with something that is probably off balance in your body. Now, I told y'all all of my business to set the scene for the homework assignment that I want to give you. Okay. This is your homework assignment. And I'm going to link this down below, because me watching this documentary actually led to me saying, okay, I need to go ahead and get these teeth out of my mouth. I'm not going to wait for them to get reinfected. I'm not going to subscribe to this theory that it might be okay and I don't want to lose my teeth. And what about if I got a side tooth missing? This documentary that I'm about to tell you that you need to go watch blew my mind, and I need for everybody to see it, okay? Because there is so much misinformation about our oral hygiene that is literally like jacking up our health. Okay, so there's a documentary called Root Cause. It's called Root Cause, and it basically uncovers years and years of research that has been kept under wraps, because it basically challenges what the dental industry wants us to believe about these procedures and their dental practices. And so the person who created the documentary found himself in the hospital one day randomly, had been suffering with all of these mysterious symptoms, ended up in the hospital, had a heart attack, and just went down this rabbit hole of seeing all these different specialists and, acupuncturists and Reiki therapists and healers and medicine women and literally therapists, just anybody who would see him. He went to every specialist he could find because he was dealing with all of these mysterious symptoms out of nowhere. And they were so mysterious that literally, I think it was like 18 or 19 people that he had seen that could not figure it out. They could not pinpoint it. They could not give him any answers as to why he was seemingly healthy, but just out of nowhere was having all of these health problems. And it was literally on like the 20th person that he went to see that asked him, have you had a root canal? And he's like, what does my heart issues have to do with a root canal? What does my fatigue have to do with a root canal? What do my headaches have to do with a root canal? Like, what? But because he had already seen all these other 19 people and they had no answers, he's like, okay, well, at least you've given me something to work with. I'm going to follow this little clue you've given me. So he goes and sees a biological dentist. Write that down. He goes and sees a biological dentist who has a special type of x-ray that the majority of general dentists do not have. Blink, blink, blink. He goes and sees this biological dentist. The biological dentist says, aha, this root canal has an infection, and this infection has led to X, Y, Z, A, B, C, all of these issues that led you to the hospital. And now he was shocked. He was alarmed. He couldn't believe it because he'd seen this laundry list of medical professionals that never once mentioned how his mouth could be playing a role. And it just didn't make sense to him. So he ended up doing all this research, finding all of this research that has been done for years by cardiologists and dentists who have been linking specifically the impact of your oral health on heart health, and how I think it was like 100% of heart patients, this one particular cardiologist saw, 100% of them had these root canals. 100% of them had these dental issues. It was like unrefutable, like irrefutable cause and effect. If you have this is going to happen. And so they were drawing all of these conclusions that were making the general dentist industry very uncomfortable, because if the world finds out that, root canals are going to cause heart attacks, if the world finds out that 80-90% of women who develop breast cancer also have a root canal on the same side of their mouth, on the same side of their body where their breast cancer is located, if the world starts to uncover some of this stuff, the system is going to break, right? We're not just going to blindly do what our doctors and dentists tell us to do. So we got to try to hide these studies. We got to try to hide the truth. And so that's why a lot of these conversations are taboo. That's why my videos and your videos will get flagged for misinformation and false news and, fake news when you start to tell the truth. So your homework assignment today is to go watch that root cause documentary. It is like an hour, but baby, when I tell you, you are going to be locked in because there's just so much that we don't know. And even if you don't have a root canal, you probably know someone who does. And even though the documentary is centered around root canals, it also talks in detail about the impact that your oral health has on your overall health. And a lot of the symptoms that we are displaying, whether it's fatigue, headaches, cancers developing, autoimmune issues developing, a lot of these things, digestive issues developing, a lot of them are caused by our oral health. And so I don't want to just scare y'all because I'm sure, when I watch this, anybody who watches root cause and you have a root canal in your mouth, you will literally be like, okay, I got to make an appointment in the morning to figure out how I'm going to get these teeth out of my mouth because it's literally like a ticking time bomb. As scary as that sounds, this man literally just dropped to the ground and had a heart attack, a seemingly healthy man. And it was because of an infection in his mouth that would have just gone unnoticed until it wasn't. Okay. It was all good just a week ago. But once you know better, you got to do better. So I don't want to just give y'all that homework assignment and tell you that you need to watch it with a friend or a loved one. Okay. Because we all got to get access to this information. We all got to know better so that we can do better. But I also want to tell y'all some of the ways that you can be proactive, some of the things that you should start doing to just help and enhance your oral health routine. So last week we talked about, or the week before last, we talked about on episode 1, we talked about castor oil and how castor oil can actually be used orally. You can use castor oil for oil pulling. You can use coconut oil for oil pulling. And what oil pulling is you basically gargling with oil, and the oil goes in between your teeth and all through your gums and collects the bacteria and the toxins so that when you spit the oil out of your mouth, all of those toxins and bacteria goes with it. So it's basically supposed to balance the pH in your mouth and remove the toxins. The main issue that causes a lot of the issues that we have with our oral health, from the cavities to the infections that creates the need for fillings and veneers and root canals and all of the things, is because the pH is off in our mouth. Our mouths are acidic based on the foods that we're eating. So literally everything. And if y'all have not seen my Girl Stop Playing episode, I'm going to link that down below too, because I actually interviewed a dentist who talked about, balancing the pH in your mouth and the acidity of our foods. And the only thing that's not acidic basically is like water and herbal tea. Like mostly everything else that we put into our mouth is acidic. And so unless we are swishing water after every single bite or after every single taste or drink, then our mouths are usually acidic. And that acid sitting on our teeth turns into plaque. The plaque harbors bacteria, and that's how we end up with cavities and infections and root canals and all of the things. And so oil pulling will help you to, release those toxins, release that bacteria, and get that out of your mouth. So oil pulling is something that I've definitely started to add to my routine. So the recommended oil pulling time, I think, is 15 to 20 minutes. If you can. It is a little difficult at first, but put on some music, do it while you're doing your skincare routine, do it while you're taking a shower, do it while you're getting your babies dressed in the morning, do it while you're on your way to work. However you got to make it make sense. But oil pulling is definitely a preventative thing to do so that we can start to try to avoid some of these issues. Using a water pick is definitely something that the holistic dentist that I went to see recommended. And a water pick is basically like a way to floss your teeth with like very strong water pressure. So a water pick literally like pressure washes your teeth, for lack of better word. So things that you can't necessarily get with floss, a water pick will help you. And I have an Amazon storefront where all of the items that I actually purchased are there. So I only know about the ones I've used. I can't really recommend, things that I haven't used. Dental floss, that is not the waxed floss, because I think it's not Gillette. That's the razors. Those are being sued as well. But the Glade, is it Glade? No, those are plugins. What's the wax? Y'all know the floss that I'm talking about. Don't use that one, okay? That one has Teflon, which puts toxic chemicals into your bleeding gums. Stay away from wax toothpaste. But you should be still, not toothpaste, dental floss. You should still be flossing. If you're not using a water pick, you can use bamboo or charcoal dental floss. I have charcoal dental floss that I use, and that is in my Amazon storefront as well. If you can find, which I know you can, a fluoride-free toothpaste, you absolutely want to opt for fluoride-free. You want to opt out of those fluoride treatments that your dentist recommends that you get every 6 months at your cleanings. Y'all can go on the rabbit hole of why fluoride should absolutely be avoided at all costs. You can do that on your own, but y'all know Conspiracy Co. If y'all want me to get into it, I got you covered, but definitely try to stay away from fluoride-free toothpaste. These are just some of the things that are common knowledge in the American way of living that are actually harmful for us. So oil pulling, using a water pick, using fluoride-free toothpaste, gargling with peroxide is also a really great way for you to just detoxify your mouth. Using an electric toothbrush to brush your teeth. And you can also create like your own herbal toothpaste, your own herbal tinctures, your own herbal options. So when they prescribed the antibiotic, it was like a mouthwash. I literally just like Googled and found a natural herb that did the same thing. So the one that I chose, I think it's called Golden Seal. Golden Seal is the herb version, like the herbal antibiotic that you can take orally. So that's what I ended up using instead of the antibiotics, because we know that, the antibiotics that you get from your local pharmacy, they're not only going to kill the bad bacteria, but usually they're going to kill the good bacteria too, which can lead to a whole host of other issues. So I say all of that to say, if you have been noticing that you've been dealing with any type of mysterious issues, ailments, symptoms that are showing up seemingly out of nowhere that you just cannot pinpoint, start with your mouth. Okay? Google the tooth map. Check and see if you ever find like reoccurring tooth pain. Check that tooth. Y'all, I've told y'all, like, I go see all of the wellness people, from the acupuncturist to the therapist to the Reiki people. Like, I'm going to see all of the people, to the holistic dentist. I'm seeing them all. But when I did my meridian testing, which is basically when they test like the electricity in your body, for lack of better terms, when I did my meridian testing, one of the areas that came up as being like off balanced was my, I think my large intestine and my spleen. When I look at that tooth map, one of the teeth specifically that I'm getting pulled, or by the time you're watching this, it's already been pulled, is literally the tooth that's associated with my large intestine and spleen based on the tooth map. When I tell y'all this ish is deep, like, it is no surprise that they want us to stay as far away from being informed as possible. It's no surprise that the powers that be wants us to remain ignorant, wants us to lose access to this information that can truly empower us. So it is up to us to educate ourselves so that we can be as informed as possible, so that we can spread the true information. Even when it's labeled as misinformation, we can spread the true information in our family and with our community. I really believe like each one teach one. So now that you have access to this information, it is your duty. It is your responsibility. I am challenging you to share not only this video with a friend, you don't even have to send this to a friend. If you learn something here, take this information and teach it to someone else. Okay. Now, I would love to know what you did learn today. If any of this information was like shocking, mind blowing, if you still don't know why I have chosen to get these teeth taken out of my mouth, let me know in the comments. If there is something specific that you want me to cover on the next or an upcoming Well Kept Wednesday, let me know that down in the comments as well. And if you are not subscribed, right here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you will be notified every single time a new video or an episode of my podcast, Girl Stop Playing, is released. Now, these Well Kept Wednesday conversations are just the tip of the iceberg, right? We got to have a space and a community to take these conversations off of YouTube and make them more collaborative. Because right now I'm just talking to you, but I want us to talk to each other. I want us to exchange information, exchange ideas, and really increase our understanding through having these honest and informative conversations. And so I have created the Well Kept Woman community to be a safe space for women just like you who are intentionally investing in your wellness. If you enjoy this conversation and if you want to get lost in some of these rabbit holes full of resources for how you can live well, how you can intentionally invest in your wellness, then the Well Kept Woman community is for you. Inside the community, you get free access to virtual expert-led sessions every single month, group therapy every single month, and an invitation to join me in real life for in-person experiences. So tap the link below to not only do your homework, which is to watch that root cause documentary, but if you want to join me inside the Well Kept Woman community, log on to thegrownwomanguide.com and I will guide you through these grown woman conversations that can truly move our community and our culture forward. Last but not least, I have a nonprofit organization called the Further Culture Foundation that is linked down below as well. If you are in the mood and feeling the vibes to support the movement, log on to thecurefortheculture.com. Grab a tea. The proceeds from every single purchase directly go to the Black community through our programs. I love you. I hope this was empowering, encouraging, and hopefully educational. And I will catch you on the next episode of Well Kept Wednesday.